Hello YouTube. Here we are again, book reviews for you. Today I have chosen to do a rather controversial novella by the famous, or rather infamous, Mark Twain. Of course that's not his real name, but who cares? So here's the book. The Huckleberry Finn is the book I'm going to be reviewing. It's a very, very popular book. There's been it's been taught on and off in the schools. For a while, it was banned in the libraries of the North because people saw it as smut. People did not, people didn't like it. But before I get too much into that, for those of you who haven't read it, I'll do a brief summary. The story describes a young boy who's going through so many mental and physical changes in his life. He's a teenager, maybe not even a teenager. I think he's about 13 in the novella, and the story describes his journey down the mighty Mississippi with his African American companion, Jim. Jim is an escaped slave. He escaped, and Huck is on the run himself, being that he's so young. And his journey describes so much. It's just he's growing. He's changing his views on a lot of things. This boy is growing up in circa 1800 in the South, and I'm sure you all know the type of things that were going on there. There was a lot of segregation, a lot of racism, a lot of slavery was still legal all over the United States, as a matter of fact, up until 1850. This boy had these ideologies just forced upon him from birth that you must believe in God, you must own a slave, and you must rape the black women. And he's starting to realize, hey, do I really need to own a slave? Do I really need to believe in God? Do I really need to hold a black woman down and forcefully put my penis in her rectum? He's starting to realize that those things may not be true. Those things may not be the true way of life. And you get it from his perspective. You get to see how he takes it, and some of his at some parts you see the characters like Pap, for instance. Pap he is one of the most obtuse characters you will meet in the book. Pap is Huck's father, and he is just the epitome of stereotypical Southerners. He's racist, he's an alcoholic, he's illiterate, he basically doesn't do anything all day except for get drunk and beat his son and hunt. Which, that's the case for a lot of Southerners still. And, this book touches on a lot of subjects that some people found offensive, which is why it was discluded from the books that were kept in the libraries up north. And as I said before, I think I said this, it is a rather controversial novella, and as of now it still goes in and out of school systems because, particularly because of the use of the word nigger in the story. Mark Twain has attempted to justify the use of the word nigger, or the overuse as some have put it, by saying, well, that's just how people talked. I wanted this as a realist novel. We need to be real, which it sounds completely reasonable to me. And I think the fact that just because he said nigger in a story, the overuse of a word nigger doesn't mean that it necessarily isn't okay. There's plenty of other words throughout the whole thing. You could say nigger a couple times, I believe. Although it's not a couple, it's almost, he says nigger. Let me find an excerpt. Why ain't this nigger put up to an auction and sold? Let me see here. They call that a government that can't sell a free nigger till he's been in the state 6 months. It's just, that was an excerpt from, I think, page 6. And I just don't think that the word nigger should completely ruin a good book, because it is a good book. And just because he says nigger so many times doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's just the word, I don't believe there is any I mean, of course, yes, it's offensive, but I don't think the way he uses nigger in it is offensive. And for those who do overuse nigger and who are completely insensitive to that fact, I just don't see where you can believe that that is okay, because it is a very touchy subject. It is not okay for people to say nigger, especially in a repetitive sense. It's one thing to quote or something of that sort, but when you just are throwing around nigger like it's a frisbee, that's where I think you need to draw the line, and that's where I think we need to come to on this book with Nigger Jim and Huck's Adventures. Yeah, and so overall, I'd rate Huck The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I'd rate it 4 out of 5 stars. It is a good book, yet it's a little short and abrupt, and I frankly, although I do think that nigger is okay to be used in books of realism, particularly, I do believe it was a little too excessive. A little too excessive for my taste. Well, until next time, YouTube, I'll that's the end of this book review. See you later, YouTube. Goodbye now.